Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Just doodling around in the workshop, setting up for 12 veranda posts I've got to do. We got Jay here, so he'll tell me if anybody comes in. Not that I'm expecting many people at this time of the day. All right.
And what wood have they chosen, Robbo?
Cypress. It's
Okay.
macrocarpa. Not cypress pine, just macrocarpa, which I must admit I've never turned veranda posts out of.
Hmm.
But like I say, it's what the customer chose, so that's
Yep.
what we'd use.
And it sounds the same as what Sid gave me. Actually, the same stuff,
Yeah, it is exactly the same stuff.
similar to pine, right? Pretty much like the pallet pine, really, isn't it? Really not far off.
Well, it's not as open grained as what pine is. The pine we get out here is generally open grain, whereas
Yep.
this is a very close grain. So I'm just cutting myself off a cloth. Get my thinners fixed for the morning.
Should I be under the impression that veranda post that they gave you as an example broke off?
Yeah, you'll see in a minute. I'll lift it up onto here to mark out everything in a minute.
Yep. Pretty rough end on it, that's for sure.
Sorry?
I said it's just got a really rough end on it. Looks like it snapped off.
No, it's rotten up in here. That's
Okay.
why they're replacing them. They're actually rotten down in the middle there. They're like a
Yep.
big sponge.
Hmm.
Which, when they're holding up a roof, isn't good.
No.
Lock everything down nice and tight. What I've done is I've measured up from the bottom here up to there, and I've marked
Can't
the.
can't see your hands, Robbo.
Ah,
It's probably like maybe like if you went up a quarter of an inch.
yeah, all right.
Yep.
What I've done is measured the post up to where the first cut goes in, basically, but away from the pommel cut. And I've marked this post here and done the same at the other end. So that gives me the distance that I'm turning. And then I'll transfer the marks onto here. I'll lift the post onto here, transfer the marks onto the post where the details are, and then mark them onto the tool rest. It sounds complicated, but it's not. It just takes a bit of time, that's all. Because even though I do have story sticks for those, like I do the balusters and that, on a veranda post, it's just a bit too long and unwieldy sometimes.
Yep. Do you have a steady that comes into the middle of these?
Yeah, that comes in after. I haven't decided where I'm putting it yet.
Okay.
So we set that up flat like that. Oh.
Now that's just testament to how rotten this piece is. Robbo had to have someone help him lift the other piece onto the lathe, and he managed to move this one by himself. So that just proves how rotten it is.
Oh, who we got in?
Oh.
You bloody bitch.
Don't talk to me like
You alright?
Yep.
No one's in. It's just video, just doing it for people that watch it back. That's all.
Oh, yeah. All right.
You gonna be able to grab that?
Yeah, that should be right. I've just got to find. I should have put my spindle lock in instead. I forgot about it. Right. Hello, Stace.
Oh,
Copper Owl's in.
it's not coming up on the
Tommy's in.
chat for me.
Sorry.
It's not coming up on the chat for me.
Oh,
All right. We'll see if I can refresh.
Tommy said your Ashes trophy looks good, Joe.
Oh, cheers. Thanks, Tommy. How you going, Stace? How you going, Rob? How you going, Tommy? Sorry, anyway. Now I got it. All right. Stace has asked what you're making today, Robbo.
Veranda posts. Real turning. Okay. Now, just get a spindle lock put in there. It's all right. Yakking after myself at the moment. Hello. What's happened there? That's better.
What's going on?
Oh, it's all right. Talking to myself. Partly. Right. I'll move the camera around a little bit so you can sort of get a side view of what I'm doing.
Well, you didn't. You could have warned us.
Who knows to make a gonk when you look like one?
Lawrence has just come in. How you going, Lawrence?
G'day, Lawrence. Right, now what I'm doing now is, as I said before, I've marked where the turning and that starts. I haven't marked the pommel marks there. What I'm doing now is putting the lines in where the details are in here. Onto the post I've got to turn. And just bear with me. This is what I say. This is the setting up of it. Whacking a bowl on a lathe is easy.
Steve C's just come in. How you going, Steve?
G'day, Steve. Right, now we lift this post behind so that we don't get things tangled up when we start turning it. I've got a visual reference behind me now so that I know where I'm going with the, whether it's a bead or a cove or whatever. Square the lines across. On smaller things, we use what's called story sticks, which are a board that's got the details on it. Veranda posts, because of their size, I very rarely use a story stick on. I just mark it direct onto the tool rest.
Mike's just come in. How you going, Mike?
G'day, Mike. Steve. Right, take the lock out. Now we use a white art line paint marker, it's called. Don't know if you can see that upside down.
You can still see it though, yes.
Now, sitting the square on here, we come around to here. There's our first mark here. Next mark here. Next one there. Now I start from the left and work towards the right, because if I was left-handed, I'd do it the other way. But doing it the right-hand way, if you put a mark here and you have to put another mark there, you smudge it. So, like painting a floor, you know, you don't paint yourself into a corner.
And Mike would like to know if it's going to be a pen.
If it's going to be a pen.
Yeah.
Do you want me to get the soap for you, Mike? All right, there's all the marks in. Now I'll put a little mark in here just to show where I'm coming in off the square there. Now I go along and mark what each one is. A B for a bead. C, that's another bead. This is a vase. Another bead. Cove. 2 beads here. Again, it's just for a reference, because there's nothing worse than putting a bead in where a cove should be, or worse still, a cove where a bead should be. And F for flat. Now from there, I work out, because this is so long, it vibrates. So from there, I'll work out roughly where the steady's got to go in and where it'll be turned off. So it'll be right on these two little beads here. So I just put a little inverted V there just to show roughly where the steady's got to go, so that I don't get lost as I'm working along, because it's very easy to get tangled up in your own bull sometimes. Yeah, I've often thought, Stace, of getting a Bic insert and getting one of my 30-foot posts that I do and drilling a 316 hole in the end and putting an insert in and saying, right, there you are, you buggers, you've got your pen now.
Yeah, TJ Turning's just come in, and Woodworker Learner's just come in as well. How you going, guys?
Good morning, all, because I know it's morning in England. All right. Now, get my safety glasses. Now, basically, whenever we stop the lathe, we always check the tail stock. The first thing we do is rough down where the steady's got to go.
It's 10 p.m. over there, Robbo.
Sorry?
It's 10 p.m. over there. In England, it's 10 p.m.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, it's night. That's right. This timber's been cut for about 30 odd years, so it's as hard as the hobs of hell. It's dried right out, and it's cypress. Cypress macrocarpa, actually.
Ben has just come in. How you going, Ben?
Now, because of the type of timber and it's got knots and things in it, I tend to use a European roughing gouge, which is that style, not an English one. It's a half round one. I might just put you right into the background, Joe, if that's all right.
Yep. Yeah. Ben Jammin's come in too.
Good afternoon, Ben. How are you?
It's actually got it can apparently go up to 20,000, but the motor can't handle that fast. So it could probably do the 2,000 easy.
It's got 78 speeds, I think. It's got big reduction gears. You might be able to see it there. I'll just turn it off a minute. And let's see if I can get it.
You get that big wheel at the back behind the headstock.
Yeah, right on. I'll zoom it in. Ah.
There, yeah.
Right. That's a reduction. 3 horsepower motor. That's the reduction gears behind. There's 5 on the motor, 5 on the headstock, and 4 on the reductions. So I can vary the speeds a fair bit. No, it's not a flywheel, Tommy. That's actually the pulley. Now I'm talking to my lathe here, Ben. Henry, you don't look at the screen, all right? Some of these people are very, very insulting. Insinuating that I turn pens on you.
Mike's already had it.
No greater insult is there to us people.
Mike's already had a stab at that one, Ben, so... And Ray Cotty's just come in. How you going, Ray?
Hello, Ray. I might just leave it zoomed in there for the time being.
Yeah.
Rightio. Just wait a second. I'm rolling myself a smoke.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go outside now. So.
All right. I'll give me a yell when you get back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, not making chopsticks. Sorry. I'll just wait until Jay gets down to his little hideaway down there. Yes, Ben. Earlier on, I explained what I was doing. I put marks down the post. Like I mark out the details here, down along here, transferred off the one I've got a copy, and then I use a white marker down onto there. They're just too long. I could make a storyboard for it, but it's just too long, so I just work straight off the rest on these. Yeah, I got very good help for putting these on. I'll just move it down there and show you. They're called a chain block. Some of the stuff we've got to lift onto here is 3 or 4 ton. Yeah, 20 years ago I could lift the posts in, but not these days. Yes, unfortunately, Terry. But I'd like, as I've said, if I was 40 years younger, though, I'd probably kill myself in 12 months because of all the toys they've got these days. Like, I'd been the Red Bull circus on those motorbikes doing loop-the-loops 100 feet off the bloody ground and playing around with jet skis and jumping off aeroplanes and all sorts of stupid, idiotic things. Oh, I should have. I'll put this little bit in here for Brian. The floor is clean, Brian, as you can see. It won't be that way in about 2 or 3 hours' time, I can assure you. Yeah, you're right, Terry. We didn't have them back then. Oh, we had trail bikes and things like that, but not the U-Butte things I've got these days for mucking about. Very good. Glad to see that I'm not the only one they pick on, Terry, anyway. Normally, Lawrence, what happens is the posts are machined. Now, the customer supplied these, and I said to him, do you want these machined or not? He said, no. He said, because these are only rough cut. You can probably see the saw cuts down them. And I said, all right. So don't know what they're doing with them. I've just turned in the middle bits for them and they can look after that themselves afterwards. I do much prefer working on machine timber because then I know it's even. Like these aren't quite, because they were cut 30 years ago, they're shrunk a little bit parallelogram-ish, so they're not quite square, but as they say in the classics, It ain't my problem. Fortunately, I've got to do 12 of these, and he sent 15 up. And I'm just getting onto that, Ben. Well, we got one boomerang in them that if I threw it out the door, g'day, Chris, and yeah, I rejected that. So I had to pick 12 out of 15. Fortunately, most of them are fairly straight. Cypress, generally, when it's cut, is a fairly stable sort of timber. It doesn't move around too much. G'day, Pete. Oh, and Keith. She's got a lot of insomniacs tonight, have we? I'm just waiting on Jay to get in. I'll just take a bit more out of it while I'm waiting. This is where you learn to use the bevel, because the bevel actually holds the post sort of a little bit steady while you're trying to do this. Right. Now this is where the steady's got to go. So it's got to be a fairly even surface. So I always use a skew there just to get it down to perfectly flat and round. Just give myself a bit of bearing surface there. And voila, now we can set up our steady, which is going to take a bit of time, I think. Right. Now there's various steadies that I could use. There's ones with wheels on it that I could put in here. On the bigger posts we do, if you go and have a look at some of my other videos, you'll see some very big steadies in there. They've got to be lifted in with a block and tackle, but they're virtually used to hold the post straight. On veranda posts and balustrading and stuff, I just use these. They're notched out in here, and it sits into the thing like that from behind. So we'll sit him in. Got to get it centered. And when you're fitting them, what you do is you just slide it up fairly firmly. And then when you tighten this bolt to lock the tool rest in, or to lock the banjo in, it just tilts it forward a fraction and just puts a little bit of tension on it. Doesn't need a lot. The reason the steadies are shaped like this is because what the the post is trying to do, as you're turning it, it tries to climb back over the top. So you've got to have a thing up here to stop it from coming forward at you, and one underneath it to stop it from bouncing. So it just fits it into a wedge, basically. And then to stop it from burning, we apply wax. Like so. As I said before, every time we stop the lathe, we check the tailstock, because what can happen is the tailstock centers can bore a hole in, or the drive for itself can come in a little bit. And trust me, you don't want one of these jumping, chasing you around the workshop. Right, up the speed a bit now. That better. Let's see if I can get this camera around a little bit. Ah. Not out, Jake. Now I can see you. Hello.
How you going?
Yeah, actually, it is a little bit, Ben, but if the tools are sharp, you're generally pretty right. Now, just see if I can get it down to here. Now, you may just pick up the pencil line there. But there's a pencil line here on the post where I started the thing. Now, the round over starts here, so I'll come up at just a fraction past this line here with the roughing gouge to start it. What a lot of people do is that they nick that line there first, this one here, with a few chisel, so that it doesn't break out break the corners off. But I find with the roughing gouge, with their sharp, it just saves me a bit of time. I can come up there and then I'll get the skew chisel and I'll start putting my marks in here. Man, this is hard stuff. Now, when I'm putting the post in too, I don't centre on the ends. I always centre just on where I'm turning between, so that I know that that's dead straight between there and there. If you get a bent post, it looks terrible if you come in on one side and you've got a heap of garbage on the other side. So I'll just move this camera back out of the way a bit. Now I get rid of this bit here. And this is actually where the English roughing gouges work best. Because you've got this square corner here and you can come right up into the corner. For those that came in late, I generally do the first little bit of roughing down with the European gouge like this one, because I never know where there's knots or anything. And in some of these things, if you hit a big knot with these, you can easily just break them. Get this part here flat.
Hey Robbo, can you zoom back out on that camera a little bit? Because Tommy said it's struggling to focus.
Sorry.
Tommy said it's struggling to focus the camera. Can you just move it back a little bit? Like just the zoom on it?
That better?
Yeah.
Now, as I've said before, we don't use a parting tool to mark out with. We always use a skew chisel. Get one of the gouges runner. Right, now I'm going to put the pommel in now. I use a 1/2 inch spindle gouge for that. Normally I would use a skew for doing that, but this timber is that brittle that sometimes a gouge works a lot better. Now clean up this corner here. Long point of the skew end. Get a nice tight corner in there. Now we start laying out. Now this is just all eyesight and judgment now. Like I know that where the thing goes in on this post here, on the back one, it's 10 millimetres roughly in there. So I can judge pretty well 10 millimetres. Now generally on a post of this size, I'll just work on half of it. I don't worry about that end until I get down there. Because that's the short end, it's better supported by the headstock than this long piece out this way. It's only supported by the tailstock. So if you're going to get any movement, you're going to get it up this end before that end. So always do the hardest bit first. Right, now put our fillet in. The cove, put our fillets in for this one. Our bead in here. Clean up the corner in there so it's nice and tight. Our bead in here. Chain hands. Bead in there. Form our fillets there. Another half a bead here.
How you going, Dr. Bob?
G'day, Bob. Get our gouge again and put our cove in here now. Now, as you can see, we're working a fair way off the rest here. That's the way we work. We don't shift the rest or anything else. Like technically, if you're using the skew, this should be up about another ½ an inch. But we sort of get a balance between where we're comfortable and just work there. Now the fillets here are about 5 millimetres wide, so just get us it again. Problem with this particular type of timber, it's got a lot of knots in it. There's one right in the middle of this cove. Now, because this tapers down along there, we don't take that out. I leave that as it is there like that now, and now I'll go and do the other end up there and get the details done up there. Then I'll come back and I'll do the long taper because it can weaken the post. And if you can see, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, that's actually bouncing a little bit now with vibration. So stop the load, check the tailstock. Now, as you can see probably in the camera, it's still not perfectly flat yet, or perfectly round, but that little bit there, I'll take that out in a minute, but on the taper there, it doesn't matter that there's that bit there. That just shows you how out of square the post actually is. The other side's gone. We've got 3 little patches there, but I don't worry about that. They'll come out with a bit of sandpaper and nobody will pick it up. As I said before to Ben, yes, I would prefer the posts to be machined because that way you know you've got perfectly square posts and can get them down to a round side. But you take what you're given. The customer supplied these posts, so Jay, do you want to go on with your live now?
Ah, you're all right. I'm doing my thing in the background.
Oh, okay. If you like, I'll put you up on half screen.
Nah. I'm pretty sure everyone's in here to watch you, not me.
Oh. All right. Now, you also notice that my lathe is switched at both ends, like, sorry, there's a switching unit at this end down here, this one here. I can switch it on and off here. There's also another switch down. I don't get this around the right way, get it untangled from things. That grey box down there, that grey box there is also the other switch. Now, this lathe does have forward and reverse on it. I find it handy for sanding big posts to sand in reverse. But as you can see, I don't have to stand anywhere near where I'm turning to like stand in the way of the post when I'm switching it on and off. And it's a little bit of a pet peeve, as a lot of people know, that people that have remote switches never bother using them. They never put them out to the right-hand side of the lathe so they're not stepping past everything to turn them on and off. Taken 100 years for for the manufacturers to put safety switches in them, and now people don't use them. All right, I'll start on the other end now. Now, when I'm coming up to the square section, I always ease up to it. I don't start right on the square and then come down. I always creep up on it so that it doesn't break the corners out. Bloody big knot in there somewhere. Now you also notice that my body moves with the chisel. I don't just stand there half the time and just out there like this. I'm fairly close, but the chisel is wedged to my body. I'll turn around there. It's on the hip, and I move with the chisel. On long posts, we actually walk like this down the lathe. Basically, when you're turning, your feet should never stand still. Oh yeah, one knot there, another knot off to the side of it. Right. Yeah, that looks close.
Brian's just come in. How you going, Brian?
So, Brian, you're too late, Brian. The floor was clean. Again, use our cube chisel to mark out with a series of V-cuts. And it just happens to be a bloody big knot right where one of the cuts has got to go, which is making it very hard. Oops, our steady's twisted. All right. Look, we've got a fire in the hole. We're going to have to change the steadies. Now, that generally happens because it's putting too much tension on one side. It's not sitting on a nice... wait on, I'll see if I can get the camera down there a bit. When I moved it back, I've actually put a lot of tension. Rather than being level across here, it's tilted around sideways like that. So it's putting a lot of pressure just on one point. So it's a good way of starting a fire if you want to. All right, I'm going to put Jay up on full screen while I muck around with this, changing the steady.
No need for that.
Oh, all right, well, just bring it back out again. Now, these steadies are fairly easily made if you've got a few welding skills and or a tame engineer. Basically, all they are is there's a pin that goes down into the banjo. A heavy flat piece of steel. This is 10 millimeter steel here, and then it's just a wooden block that's screwed on at the back here. So you can adjust this block up and down depending on which particular lathe I use. Like this one's got 8-inch centers. There's a couple around here that got 6-inch centers. There's another one that's got a 2.5 foot center. So I can alter where I put the blocks of wood and everything in there. I must admit, on the 2.5 foot center, I don't need to rud steadies at all, for the simple reason that anything that's 2 feet in diameter ain't going to bend. If it does, I'm out of here. So, but I'm a big sook. So I'll change the back of it because the pin on the one that I've got in the lathe at the moment is 25 mil. It's not an inch, and it needs to be a good fit to work properly. So being lazy, that was all. I don't know. Now, I got various sizes. This is one of them. As you can see, this one's smaller. That's for balustrades. So strip this one down. Don't drop it on my foot. I need that one. Take this one off.
Did you see Ben's question, Robbo?
No.
He wants to know if you can pan the camera around your shop.
Oh, yeah, all right. Just give me a couple of minutes, please, Ben, while I get this sorted, all right? Now, as you can see, there's a few holes in the back of this. So what I do is I put it in here. Wouldn't credit that dropped right on the end and burred over the bloody thing. I need a file. These are the joys and tribulations that one has to go through sometimes. I'll try that and see how it goes. Hey, that better. Now, put that in there. Just roughly work out where this has got to go in. Right. Level with the pin at the bottom. And we should be ready to go in a minute. All right. Up a bit more. Oh, come on. Geez, lucky I'm on camera. Well, there could be many harsh words. I'm just checking that it's located in underneath here. Okay. I'll just lubricate this and then I'll show you what the workshop looks like then. That's getting better. Okay, I'll go and turn some lights on first because it's a bit dark in there that we're away from the lights. Okay, this part out here behind here, oh wait on, more lights needed. Right, the original workshop's 40 feet long by 25 feet wide. Now, when we had Henry made, Henry's 40 feet long. So it's the length of one wall. In order to fit it in, we had to cut a hole in the wall. So that bit out there where all the leads and everything are hanging up now is called the Annex. And you can probably, you can probably just see, I'll move it there. That's our big extraction fans down in there. Believe it or not, they can clear the workshop of dust in about 2.5 minutes. It's fantastic. Very high volume fan. We used to have dust extractors everywhere, but as you can appreciate, on a 40-foot load, you can't have dust extraction. It's just an impossibility. So rather than muck around with it, we took it all out. And we normally use just a dust extractor as per the thingo. If we do have a dust extractor down behind the headstock there. You might, no, you can't see the hood of it, but it's actually mounted onto the back wall there and blows all the dust out the back. On the back of the shed here, we have another roof, like a carport sort of thing, with walled on 3 sides. It's 17 feet high. It's for parking the motorhomes in when we were working on them. And it's 50 feet, sorry, 25. It's 40 feet long and nearly 20 feet wide as well. So, right, so that part there is called the Annex. I'll just zoom this back out a bit. Now, this is where I keep most of my chisels. In there and behind there, believe it or not, don't laugh, is all the painting and decorating stuff. Yes, I have classes on decorating and texturing and various other things. That little dog box in the corner there behind that door there, that's my office. And in summer, when it starts getting warm, that fan gets put in the doorway there to cool me down a bit. No, Ben, I don't think you're a pain in the arse at all. Just sometimes, maybe. Yeah, okay. But the most important thing in the workshop, which I don't have running at the moment, second most important thing is behind there. So I've got to keep walking backwards and forwards. Let's see if I can zoom in on there a little bit. Where are we? Is that there? My radio, I plug in an iPod and I just play. Sometimes I have 50s and 60s and 70s rock on, like Roy Orbison and that sort of stuff. Most of the time, though, I play classic music or opera. Whoops, that's the roof up there. And this is what happens if you have an accident. Let's see if I can pick it up. See that little dark spot there? That's the broken end of where a broken end of a spindle roughing gouge hit, when it snapped when it hit a knot. So, all right, now there's more storage space up the top here as well. Like there's big vice trestle types of things, extraneous garbage up there. A lot of hinges and drawer runners and stuff. We used to do a lot of furniture work at one time. Same on the office roof over here. This bit of ironmongery up here is the carriage off the next lathe I'll show you. That's the carriage off Reg. That weighs about 120 kilos, I think. I know I wouldn't like it dropping on my head. That storage of all the slings and everything I use on the blocks and tackles. That's a small faceplate down there. That's only the faceplate's 2 foot in diameter, and the backing plate's 3 feet. And they're all compressor lines and everything. Now, and there's my other baby.
Tommy asked, did he see a scroll saw?
Sorry?
Tommy is asking, did he see a scroll saw?
Was that a scroll saw? No. No, I don't have a scroll saw in the place. Right, so that's Reg. Then that's a work in progress, making a bed for my daughter, for my granddaughter. And behind that is the Technitool lathe. The one I do a lot of my demonstration things on behind there. Just moving around. Now, that's the main. That's the main door into the place at the moment. Forklifts there. Now, I might add that out there is called Siberia near that door, because in summer it's as hot as hell, and in winter it's as cold as, it's like an iceberg. You've got to put Arctic gear on because it's not insulated or anything. Out there is all my thicknesses and jointers and spindle moulders and various other bits and pieces. That's my forklift for getting stuff in and out like these things. That's more storage space over there of flammable goods. All the lacquer thinners and everything like that, and all the electrical stuff I need to use for wiring up motorhomes. That doorway there leads into the tool room. That's where I keep all my chucks and various other bits and pieces that I don't want little fingers to see and get at. And of course, we had to cut a door in the end as well, so that we've got another door down there that slides out to get really long timber in. The driveway's just out there, so we can pick it up on the forklift, put it on a trolley, and wheel it in and pick it up with the block and tackles. Then this is just all a junk pile. There's my grinder, Tormek behind it that I take away with me, a couple of routers and things. All the electrical tools, all the electric hand tools are all in the tool room. But that's all the general garbage there. So that's pretty well it. Oh, wait on. And we have the Prince of Lathes up here. Let's see if I can get it. I hope you can read that. A fantastic lathe. The GMC Ryobi, got 4,000 different names. Absolutely stunning lathe to use. Not. I've got two of those to show people what not to buy. So, and this part here is all the switchboard and everything for the lathes. Most of my lathes always have power points near them. It's handy for plugging in drills and lights and various other things as you need them. So that's pretty much, I'll just show you. That's the bottom of Henry, down along there. Right round to the start again. Right, I've got to spin this camera so I don't get dizzy. I've wound the leads around the tripod.
Woodworker learner's going. See you later.
See you later.
And David's come in. How you going, David?
G'day, David. Yeah, so that's what the workshop looks like. My playpen, my sanity pit. Okay, I'm going to take a break for a little while. I've just got to have a cup of tea. So I might just leave the... Well, do you want to do your live, Jason, or not?
What was that?
Do you want to do your live? I'll shut this down. I'll go and have a cup of tea and whatever.
Yeah, whatever if you want. I'm not really that fussed at the moment.
Okay. Well, I can leave it running like that. I'll be probably... But I'll probably be about half an hour. I've got some phone calls and stuff to make as well. You off, are you, dear? No. All right, wait on. I got to shut down anyway. My wife's here. All right. Thank you all for coming in. I shall catch you all later on. I'll be probably setting up randomly during the day and of the morning and that. So if I'm on, I'm on. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, he left me here. You're still live, Robbo. What are you doing? He likes to do that. Walk away and leave his lives running.
It helps if you close it down, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what I just explained to everyone. I said he likes to walk off and leave them running.
Okay. Bye, everybody.